Hi, everyone. I just want to thank you for being a founding member. It's already helping us tremendously, and I really appreciate it. And one of the things I'm doing for founding members is answering questions that they ask, over video and taking a little more time to answer anything you want to know. And today I've gotten about 10 questions from founding members on the last batch, and I'll keep doing this, but I'm going to answer all of the questions they had today. So the first question they had is, how can we measure books clicked converting into sales? Now, I'm assuming they mean books clicked from shepherd.com, of course, because I don't know how you're tracking it, if you're doing marketing on a lot of different websites. So the simple answer is that is not possible to do right now with Shepherd, and I am not sure if it will be possible in the future. The reason is it's a big technical challenge. I'm actually not sure if it's even possible. What we do hope to eventually do for authors is build a dashboard so that they can see how many book clicks are going to their book, and to which bookstore, and those kind of stats. That's something that I would like to do after we get more of the core site done. It's a very, very big project, very expensive to build. It's one of the things that, as I hope we hire a full-time developer in 2023 using the money we're raising from the founding member program as well as advertising. I'm hoping that we have a better idea of when we could pull that off. The limitation I will say there from our end on seeing book sales is that we really don't see all the book sales happening. Bookshop.org does a really good job. They give us 30 days worth of sales data. But Amazon only gives us data if somebody buys a book within 24 hours. And we know that that is missing a lot just from a few conversations with authors who have Amazon data from their side. So in short, to answer that question, I would like to build a dashboard where authors see all their stats. It's a humongous project because we have to do a lot of different things there. But it is something I'm going to be looking at for 2024, or if, possibly sooner, but that seems doubtful. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of the first question. The second question I'm going to answer is, somebody said, are you doing a social media campaign to get people to look at the site? So we do a lot right now to help authors share what they create for Shepherd on their social media. So we do a lot of work to generate images, to generate all the meta tags that social media uses to help that discussion go forward. That's all we do on social media right now. We do have accounts at Facebook and Twitter, and we do some retweeting on Twitter. We don't do that as much on Facebook yet, but we probably will soon. But those audiences are rather small and we're not focused on it. And you might say, why? I'm going to share a longer write-up below, but the truth for a site like ours, social media is some of the least valuable traffic for us to pursue and to build a community around. The most valuable traffic for us to pursue at this stage in the site is Google and search engine traffic, followed by email traffic. And the reason that's the case is Google traffic repeats every month. If somebody's looking for the best books about Stalin or the best fantasy books with dragons, those are searches that happen every single month. And so once we rank for those type of keywords, it means more and more readers are finding our site, and we don't have to keep doing the same work every month. Those people also have buy intentions. When they're looking for a book like that, it means there's a much higher chance they're going to buy a book because they have that intent. Whereas on social media, we have to make posts every day. We have to schedule those. We have to create that. And the people getting those usually don't have buy intent. It's much lower. If I'm just browsing Twitter and I see a book I like, I'm going to have way less intent to buy that book because it wasn't something I was actively doing. And that's a big reason why we didn't start with social media. We started with search engine optimization and the traffic from that, as well as in 2023, we are going to expand to a personalized book newsletter. And that works really well because readers request it. They say, hey, I want to get book recommendations every 2 weeks from you guys based on what I love. And that's something we're going to launch this coming year. And that's much more valuable than social media as well, because one, we control it. It's something that the list keeps growing bigger. We keep sending those book recommendations and the person wanted it. So they have even more buying intent than social media. If they get that list every 2 weeks, it means they're actively looking for new books and they want that email for the most part. So that's the reason we don't do social media right now, is it's the least valuable and we have very limited resources. It's just me doing marketing as well as many other things. So that's why all of 2022 has just been a focus on search engines. 2023 we'll do search engines plus the email newsletter. And then we're going to see what's going on for 2024 to see if now it's time to plan out a social media campaign and see what we want to do there. My rough thoughts for social media is that I would like to do it around genre and big topics so that we have a history presence on Facebook and Twitter. And so that people that like history and history books are going there. But we're going to have to see how much time we have, resources, and all that bit. And once again, I will post links below that go into more detail on why that traffic's more valuable. And keep in mind that it's much different if you're an author, because an author is developing a fan base, and that's not really something they can do via SEO. There are some littler things that authors can do, but they're not going to be able to rank as easily for some keywords. Because obviously, if you write a book about Stalin, you would love to rank for the best book about Stalin, but that's just not going to happen in most cases. It takes a lot of time and a certain skill set. So for an author, it is valuable to build up a fan base and a presence on TikTok or Facebook or Twitter, if that's something you want to do, because you're connecting directly with your readers and you're keeping them engaged so that when you have your next book, that's something that they are interested in and looking forward to. So I hope that answers that question about social media. And obviously, feel free to email to me directly if you have questions. So I had somebody ask, will themes be grouped more easily rather than just the search button? So feel free to reach out to me with a little bit more clarification there. I wasn't entirely sure on this one. We do a lot of groupings outside of search, of course. Right now, we only have topics for bookshelves. So these would be things like World War II, France, Stalin, knights, dragons. They're very much linked to the Wikipedia database. So if you're on a World War II bookshelf, you can scroll to the bottom and see connected bookshelves that are related. So you can go from World War II bookshelf to one on Stalin, FDR, the Pacific War, the US Army and World War II. There's a lot of topics that we interlink that way so that readers can keep moving through the site, kind of horizontally. The other thing we do is on every book recommendation list, we recommend bookshelves and we recommend lists in a similar way around those topics. So if somebody is browsing a list, say it's the best books about dragons with female heroines, then they can jump from that to other topic pages such as dragons, heroes, and related things. But if you browse those pages, you'll see that we do more than just do search. It's also, once you're in the site, you can browse based on those topics. So that's the answer there. We are about to release something called an Explore Point, and I will put a link to it below so you can preview it. This should be coming out in about 2 weeks, as long as we can finish some bugs. But basically, this will add a little area next to book recommendations that you click, and it says explore this book. And when you click that, it will show the book's description. It'll show links to books like it, why you should read this book. It'll show the topics for that book. So it's gonna add a lot more navigation to help people navigate the site. And take a look at the image below and it'll kind of make more sense. It's going to be rolled out along with our individual book pages and also our books like pages and some other things we've been working on. And I believe that'll be ready in 2 weeks, I hope. I'm reviewing that over the next couple of days. Cool. So the next question I have is, the advertising is very intrusive. I know that they are necessary, but break the flow in a lot of ways. Any way to minimize this? Yeah, so I don't like ads. I would like to remove them from the site, but we need money to fund everything for the time being. I put a lot of money into the site, and we need more income in order to pay for our costs. And while the site's growing, we're kind of in a weird place where we're spending more than we have as the site grows until it hits a point where it's financially sustainable, which should be in 2023. And founding members are helping a lot there by helping us fund the site without having to rely on advertising. So in the short term, there's nothing I can do. The ads are the same as any other website, on the internet. I do know there's one bug right now on mobile that is broken, and I just emailed them to fix because it was putting two ads next to each other and very weird. But everything else, this is kind of, around what every other site is using. We use a very prestigious ad network. In the short term, I can't do anything about this because we need the money from ads in order to help fund the site. And so that just isn't possible yet. My long-term plan to replace ads is I plan to replace the ads with book advertising that comes in seamlessly in the site, because I hope to make this available to publishers and authors who have a book and want to buy additional advertising. Say somebody wrote a science fiction book about artificial intelligence. They might pay a small fee to have their book listed on the artificial intelligence bookshelf. They might pay a small fee to have that book show up as a book ad, clearly marked as an ad, on a recommendation page. And these would replace the display ads and be more minimal and on target, because obviously if people come to the site looking for books, it would be much nicer if they have the recommended books, but then the ads are also about books. That's my hope. That is a humongous project to build. And that means that it both takes months to build and it takes a lot of money to pay the developer to build something like that. That is not something we're going to be able to do in 2023 unless we have insane growth. And even then, I doubt it. It's something I'm going to be looking at for 2024 and doing a lot of tests to make sure it's feasible, because we have to make a certain amount of money, when we replace those display ads in order to be financially in a good place. The other thing that could help a lot there is if we have a lot of authors and readers become founding members like yourself. So if, we have over time a lot of founding members, that income would help us replace that. And we could even intertwine the two, where maybe founding members are receiving a lot of that advertising. So that's what I'm thinking about. I know it's, annoying. It's not really, too different than any other site on the net. But yeah. And of course, if you know Bill Gates or Mackenzie Scott and they want to give us a giant grant to help develop the site, please let me know. Email me directly. So I had two people ask this question. It's a very good one. Somebody asked, could we do a founding member highlight on the front page with links to our books? And somebody else asked, as a founding member, could we get more front page time? This is something I'm going to be looking into for early 2023. It was a great idea. I had another person email me about it as well. I'm playing with some ideas here when I get clear of my current catch up from returning from my trip, and I'm going to see what we can do here. The front page is definitely something we can do, although I would mention a lot of people are attracted to the front page. It is not very valuable. A lot of authors don't realize this, but the front page is like standing next to a highway with a poster board, hoping that the people hitting the front page are also interested in your book. And it's just very rare. It's the kind of thing where, let's say you wrote a book about World War II history. How many readers hitting the front page are interested in World War II and history books? Very, very small number. And if it catches their eye, the far more valuable spots are all the spots within the bookshelves and within the recommendation engine, so that if somebody loves World War II and they're browsing World War II books, that we show them, your page there, and they're like, oh, that's right up my alley. I want to go check this out. And this is something that's an important concept in advertising, because you might have a 0.5% conversion rate on the front page, and you might have a 10% conversion on a bookshelf. And even though the bookshelf might get way less traffic, it's converting much higher. I mean, I've seen some bookshelves that convert at 40%, meaning that if 100 people visited them, 40 of them are going here. And that's a huge number and quite abnormal, but that shows the power of honing in on the customer you're going after, who is the right one to read your book. So I say this because I am looking at how can I help founding members raise their profile site-wide. It's something I'm going to be looking at from a bookshelf perspective and some other ways. So hopefully I have a little more data there that I will share in January or February as I get through the next couple months and we get the current features out. But it's something on my radar and I'm working on it. Cool. So next question. How do you ensure that every author gets a fair share of promotion on the front page via book list? Are these rotated? That's a good question, kind of similar to the last one. We do rotate them randomly for the last 100. We clear the cache every 5 minutes or so, but it basically means if somebody visits the site, they get a totally new randomized list, and we do this to ensure that I can't remember if it's 6 or 10 spots that we show by default are shown by default. And we do this for all pages with bookshelf or with book list. So on the World War II page, on the Dragon page, those are also randomized to give everybody an equal share. And that code's pretty basic. We'll probably do some further improvements to it over time. But yeah, everybody gets a fair shake on that one. And of course, like I mentioned in the last one, listen to that one about the front page. The front page is largely not effective around that stuff. So next questions. There's 2 questions kind of similar. One asks, will we get author profiles as founding members with all our info and books? And the second one said, when customers get to our topic page, is there a way to click on our profile they can see all the books we've written and recommended? Yeah, so it's a great question. Currently, we do not have author profile pages. We are 18 months old, and we just don't have them yet. We started with book lists, then we added bookshelves around topics, and then we added an improved front page. So we tried to be very strategic about what we're expanding to make sure that it's adding and growing traffic, and it's something that readers want. And that usually we have a pretty unique twist on, so that we make sure we're delivering like really great value for readers. Because if we deliver great value for readers, they're going to come to the site, they're going to use it, and then we can deliver great value for authors. So we do not have plans right now to do an author profile page. We will take our first step in that direction towards 2023. We have a new format coming out, which is, what is an author's, I believe it's going to be 3 favorite books of the year. We're still doing a lot of user testing. So it's something we're going to launch in 2023, hopefully, is what are my favorite books I read this year? And that will create the first step towards an author profile page, because it will list the author, it will list any book lists they did, and it will list their favorite books and why, if they take part. So that's kind of the first step we're taking that direction. Eventually, I would love to have an author profile page that does exactly what you're saying. It shows the books they've written, it connects them with book lists they wrote. It's kind of a central hub for what that author's done on the site and what books they love. This is a really weirdly big challenge. And the reason is pulling book data on an author basis is going to pull down, for most authors, a lot of weird stuff. It pulls down multiple editions of a book, it pulls down translations of a book, and it's very hard to get that data in a way that we can publish it well. And that's why this is a weird, hard problem for us. So like right now, we manually create every book entry, and we just automated some of that so that we pull down more book edition data. And that's still going to take us another 2 weeks to kind of work out all the bugs. So this is just a really hard problem. It might be something we eventually open up to authors who want it, and then they kind of choose which editions they want to show off. I really need to think through this and what value we're giving readers there. We will eventually have something, like I said, in 2023, but this is a weird, hard problem we're still trying to work through and figure out. And it's not in a high demand yet for readers. We'd rather be giving features out that really help readers, because that generates more traffic, that helps more authors. And then eventually we're going to figure out how to do this profile page, but we're going to take a baby step that way in 2023. And feel free to send me any follow-ups there that I'm not covering, or if you have any questions around that. Next question. Can you explain how this new site will help me sell more books? I wasn't quite sure on this one. I'm going to assume that they're talking about shepherd.com, or maybe they mean a new feature, but email me if I'm mistaken. I'm going to refer to Shepherd because it's pretty well versed, but I will share an FAQ where I kind of go into detail and share some data. But currently we only have one format. That format is recommending 5 books around a topic, a theme, or a mood that is close to the book you want to pair with the list. And the entire idea there is to share 5 books with readers who are also going to be interested in your book. And this is a way to get in front of them, show them your voice, show them your expertise or your passion or something else. So for example, if I just wrote a book on the Battle of the Bulge during World War II, I might do a list that's the best books about the greatest battles in World War II. I choose, 5 of my favorite books about key battles in World War II. I recommend those books. I share why I love those books, and I put that up. When a reader gets to that list through a variety of means that the website does, they are instantly going to be interested in my book as well, because it's on the similar topic. It's each of those recommendations I make shares my insight and expertise on that subject, which just feeds them back up to that book. And I have a little opening that explains my background and why I'm a good person to pick these books. So that's really what we do right now to help authors, is we connect them with the most likely readers to read their book. So I hope that makes sense. And then this is something that we're going to keep doing. We have at least 3 new formats that we're aiming to launch in 2023. That might be a tad aggressive, but that's where we're going. We're going to be launching a new format for the favorite books of the year. And we're trying to do that as another way to bump into readers as well. We're doing one that's around interesting facts. So you share interesting facts and we feature you and your book next to that. So for example, if I share interesting facts about World War II and I wrote a book about the Battle of the Bulge, we want to give readers something that's interesting and then also kind of help, hey, check out my book while you're at it if you like this fact or you want to check it out. The third one we're doing is around character profiles to help readers find books through the characters in the books. So if I wrote a science fiction book about a cyborg, I might have a little character profile for that cyborg that goes into some details about personality and so on. We're still testing a lot of this. And then when somebody is browsing these characters, they might find your book, read it, and say, wow, I like this character. I'm going to try the book. So those are 3 of the ways next year we hope to help readers bump into your book in a similar manner and sell. But hopefully answer the question. The FAQ below also has some sales data. I'm hoping to do another one of those case studies soon. I just haven't had time. In that example, it was a nonfiction book. And that author's book sold, when we tallied up all the books sold from the promotion of their list, their book was 50% of the sales, and the 5 books they recommended were 50%. I don't know if that's going to hold up as we look at other case studies, but that was fantastic because it meant by sharing their expertise and their love with these 5 books, it sold a lot of their books, which is great to see. Cool. And the last one we got was more, it wasn't a question, it was more common. It said, not a huge fan of the browse by Wikipedia topic. And that's fine. Some readers do like to find books connected with things like dragons, castles, knights, George Washington, James Madison, founders, foreign policy, U.S. military. I mean, those are all ways that you can bump into books you would otherwise not find. Kind of the classic, you're browsing through a bookstore and you go to the history section, then you go to the shelf with all the World War II books. We're doing that, but just on a much bigger scale and a lot more serendipity introduced into it. So somebody who's browsing World War II books, they might see a list that's not necessarily just about World War II. It might be the most important battles in Germany's history. And so that might be not just a book about World War II, it might be a book about ancient Rome or something else that happened at that time, or that theme. So that's why we do that. And of course, as an author, hopefully you understand why you should love it, because each one of these searches is a reader who is looking to buy a book about that subject. And when they get to our site, they can find that. They get the joy of browsing and exploring books in a very unique way where they can keep going instead of just landing and buying. We give them ways to really explore and discover a book, kind of like you do in a bookstore. And I mean, there's millions of searches for these type of keywords that we are working to rank the site for. There's 1,000 searches each day for, best World War II books. There might be 100 searches each day for the best books about the Battle of Midway. Every one of these is one that we're trying to help readers find good books. And that helps us help authors at a greater scale because we're feeding more people into the site. That's more people that can discover you and your book. So that's why we do it by Wikipedia topic right now. That was kind of a cool place to start, and it made sense from a strategic choice in terms of the type of traffic we're going after with search engine traffic and where we felt we could help readers the most in a cool way. We will be adding genres, age groups. That's a big project for this winter that we're slowly getting going. We got a lot more stuff coming for how people discover books, and we've got a lot of stuff planned that's going to be very unique as we get some of the base features out. Cool. That's all the questions. If you submitted one and I missed it, I got all 10, but I'm going to set up a new form for further questions for next month. Feel free to email me if you want follow-up on another question or something like that. But thank you very much.